Now, by popular demand from my Patreons and also my subscribers, along with the collaboration with TSM, this is the 7-part series on advanced TSM and just getting everyone into how TSM actually works. For gold making, let us begin. Jumping in towards everything, we can then pull up our TSM from when we left off with our YouTube version of TSM. If we go in towards groups, we want to go over shopping today. So what we want to do is we're going to be wanting to create a base group, new one, and just call it shopping. Now there are multiple ways in order to actually pull in certain specific items that we're going to be shopping for. We could easily go and use the original base group method. So if we were going to be wanting to shop for, let's say, iron ore, we can find all of the iron ores and add that into our shopping. Not a problem. We can just apply dark iron ore here. We'll go in towards our selected group, go in towards shopping, and just apply it to the group. Not too bad. That's easy to do. However, when it comes towards grouping, we can always just do an import, which you can find imports on the TSM website, as well as I have a few on my Discord that people can import. Importation is just in this little section at the top right here, and you can just import that string right there, Dark Moon Fair quest turn-ins. And we don't want to include the operations because we'll be making them right there. So we're just importing the group. As you can see, Dark Moon Fair, quest item turn-ins, and we can just drag and drop that into our shopping. Now we have shopping, Dark Moon Fair, quest turn-ins. Not a problem. And just as a side note, you can just add stuff straight from your bag if you so wish. Now what we want to do is we want to buy items at a certain price. And with the Dark Moon Fair, this is something you do every month, so I add this into my shopping scan operations. So if we go over towards operations, and we see that we've got the catch-all for posting, we'll be wanting to replace this as we are all in one post-op. And realistically, if you're doing flipping with this, then you'll be wanting to adapt that string with everything for literally using the smart average buy, as that will help you not lose profits. However, our all-in-one posting string does account for that inside of there, so we can just go that as a baseline. A big thank you to TSM for sponsoring this video. They've rolled out new premium tiers and a fresh new website. With the gold tier, you get access to your add-on data on their website and receive email alerts when your tracked items hit certain price points on the auction house and black market auction house respectively. If you opt for platinum tier, you'll also enjoy advanced ledger data, automatic group imports, and Discord alerts along with email notifications. Plus, you'll be able to see sale prices and rates over time for each item. Don't forget to use the link in the description for 15% off for your first premium package. Thank you TSM for sponsoring this video once again, and now back to the video. By creating a duplicate. We're not doing any crafting, so we don't need that. Mailing operation, well, the mailing operation definitely. We'll be wanting to adjust that later on, and we'll be wanting to look at the shopping operations. Currently, if we go in towards our operations for shopping, we've got a default one. Now, we don't really want this, we want our other one, so we're just going to say Dark Moon Op, and we're just going to call it the Dark Moon Op. Now it's going to search by price, so maximum auction price, and realistically with the Dark Moon Fair one, we're just going to go with DB recent as a general basic way in order to search for this. You can go with the advanced strings once again, as we've covered in previous episodes. What we'll be wanting to do is we'll be using the DB recent value to find these items that are grouped in the Dark Moon Fair. So show auctions above max price, we are going to select that as no. If it's above the max price, we do not want to see this item because we are shopping for these. We only want to see the ones that are below the max price that we are setting at the top. So what we want to do is we want to then adjust this by selecting max, DB recent, DB market, and DB historical. Why are we doing this? Well, that is because if we open this up, we're looking for the max, which one's the maximum value of DB Recent, DB Market and DB Historical. And as the Darkmoon Faire items are every month, they fluctuate in value, so we'll be wanting to go with the recent value, the market value and also the historical, and going with the max value to set our maximum auction price to get the best bang for our buck for everything. If we want to say the maximum restock quantity, we're going to say 1 for this, because we only need 1 per character with everything. Sources to include for restock is alts. Now, do we want to use alts? Well, yes, generally speaking, so we'll select alts. And we're not going to select auctions, bank or guild because we don't need that. We are only going to use 1 restock for that. And select the inventory source you would like to include when calculating how many of the item a character already has for restocking. So now it's going to include alts in our restock for that management. We don't really need this management option, however I'm going to select my wife's one, 𝐵𝐿𝐼, and just remove her from the pool. We can use that with all of our other characters that are not ready to do Darkmoon Faire, but generally speaking most of my characters can do that. This is just a way of not using them in this operation and just exclude them from the entire thing. You can also select the realms that you're on and remove yourself from that pool as well. With the group operation, we can add the operation onto our group. So what we'll do is we'll slide down and we'll see the shopping operation right there. We're going to apply this to the whole shopping one, not the Darkmoon Faire. This is because I'm going to use this as a catch-all as the Darkmoon Op one, as I've obviously labeled it wrong with the name, but names can be renamed very easily. So now it's going with the Darkmoon Faire and the shopping operations. We can now run a shopping scan. As with our groups, we can then just go in towards the auction house, and what we're going to be wanting to do is we're going to be wanting to have a look at this on our Brutosaur, go in towards this on the auction house, and we'll be wanting to run a shopping scan. We're going to deselect everything as we don't want to make it a bit more complicated than it needs to be, so we'll just deselect everything and select our shopping operation. We're only going to be shopping for our shopping group, so we'll run that shopping scan and it's running it through everything on that front. These are all of the items that are less than the crafting value that we set originally in our shopping. Now we're shopping for the Darkmoon items. We're wanting to restock a value of 1, not bad, but we're also benchmarking against the max value of the DB Recent, Market and Historical, so it's only showing us the ones that are above that certain price. So now we can't lose gold when we're shopping with everything. We're going for things that are undervalued at this moment in time, under the certain amount. Now you can do this to be even more finicky about it by selecting a certain shopping scan within the operations. Say you're doing some form of flipping. We can apply this by using my little rule of 60%. We're just going to copy and paste this into towards these, and we're only going to be shopping scanning things that are under 60%. This is really handy in order to do certain flipping, and it kind of works like the sniper would. So we're looking at things that are below a certain amount, and we can see that a load of these things have just been removed. What we'll see here is items that are below a certain amount, and we have to remember that the max price for everything is going with that. So we're going for the maximum, and if we return it back to normal, we can see that someone has actually done a full restock of these and has bought out all of the items below a certain amount. Well, this is quite funny because things get reset quite regularly. So while I've been recording this, someone has reset anything under 100% and they're resetting it at 100% posting crafting. So you can use this in order to flip and reset items in order to sell on. With these sell rates, however, I really wouldn't try and reset these. Like the sell rate is at 0.1, so they are generally going to sell, but they'll sell more at Darkmoon Faire Day, so it's easier to do a flip a couple of days prior for those selected ones that we're scanning for. We can do this with other items as well. We're just going to say herbs, for instance. We're going to go to our base group. I'm just going to go with Silverleaf, and we're just going to apply this to the shopping group right here. You don't have to do this, but realistically I'm just adding this in just to make it a bit more easier in order to shopping scan everything. So now we're applying for the Silverleaf. We can see at 99% it's coming up, and can we restock it? Well, generally speaking, we could. Going towards our Dark Moon operation once again, we can just remove one of the values, reapply it, and then we can run that shopping scan once again in order to search for any more of these ones coming up. So we can safeguard everything from that. So at 99%, we can see that the Silverleaf's on there. We could reset this if it was below a certain amount, back towards the benchmark. So resetting items realistically can work, and if we go in towards our shopping once again, we can apply this base group and just say Ghor-Grond Flytrap. So Ghor-Grond Flytrap will find the base item for that, and we can just grab the Ghor-Grond Flytrap, attach that to herbs, and move that item over, and we can select and run a shopping scan once again on this. We can apply this with any of the shopping scans with any of our different types of items, so we could actually use this for resetting markets if we so wished. So we could grab that Dark Moon op, and we could also apply this to another group just in case. But maybe we don't want to apply this to one group. Well, we'll create a duplicate and just rename it as Flipper. And then we could apply that to items that we want to flip on the auction house. Well, let's have a look at vanilla and farming in general. So all of our farmed items that we have, we've now got that. We can adjust this on there, and we can have a nice little look at all of these items right there in order to actually find any ones that are actually decent. And we can apply that to the farming operation and run the shopping scan once again, and we can see that we could theoretically reset rough stone. As it's currently at 90%, we could reset it at 100%. Generally speaking, I don't want to do this because it's at 90%. I want to go with something a little bit less than the value that we've set in our max auction price. But overall, when we're looking at this, we can just reset things that are below like 60% of the auction value, and then just reset it to 100% using the smart average buy as our posting operation in our auctioning. We can just reset markets relatively easily. This is a shopping scan in which I like to do generally on a basic level. I know there's quite a few on the Discord that are actually really proficient when it comes towards shopping scans and just maximizing the amount of gold. I generally use my shopping scans in order to do things like my monthly or weekly quests for hand-ins, in order to just streamline things and make it a lot easier, and then buy things out when they're cheap and then relist them for a higher price later down the road. Things like pots and potions really do sell well. However, the price drops during before a raid night, and then the price spikes on raid night. So that's other things you can do. However, there is always risk when it comes towards flipping, but with shopping with Dark Moon Fair is generally something I like to do because I can get those tokens and then reset those and get those replica gears in order to sell in the auction house, and I like to do it in a very fast manner, hence why I use the groups. Other than that, that is how I go about the basic shopping methods on TSM. Other than that, have an awesome one, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.